sea coast. You are at active pause. The ESM and ECM systems of your Viper are currently powered down. Your first steps will be to turn on these systems and configure them for your missions. Some of these functions would have been accomplished before takeoff and others while on the way to the battle area. Once this has been accomplished, you will leave active pause and bring the electronic warfare systems fully online. You will first engage and destroy an SA-8, then begin an attack run on the target. During this attack run, an SA-2 site will attempt to engage you. You will use radar jamming and chaff to defeat this threat long enough to fire your JSOW. Unless otherwise indicated, those highlighted button presses and spacebar presses will immediately forward the lesson to the next step. On your first time through the training, it is recommended that you listen carefully to each set of instructions before taking the action that will move the lesson forward. When ready to continue, press the spacebar. Turn on the Radar Warning Receiver, RWR, by pressing the power switch on the Threat Warning aux panel. You should have heard the RWR power-up tones and see symbols on the azimuth display. Take a few moments to familiarize yourself with the RWR display controls. The one control you will likely lose the most is the T button, which momentarily separates threat icons on the azimuth display, enabling you to see them all. When ready to continue, press the spacebar. Turn on the Countermeasures Dispensing System, CMDS, by turning the CMDS mode knob from off to standby. If the CMDS is working normally, you will see Go illuminate. Enable the Chaff Expendable Countermeasures Dispenser by placing the Chaff switch to On. Note that you have 120 chaff rounds for this mission. Next, enable the RWR to tie into the ECM systems by switching the RWR source switch to On. On the ECM jammer control panel, provide power to the AN/ALQ-184 pod by placing the operating switch to standby. Note that an S for standby has illuminated on the button for transmitter 1. Place the remaining transmitters 2 through 6 into standby by pressing their respective buttons. Each of the 6 transmitter buttons should be showing an S. The AN/ALQ-184 has 3 jamming modes: Mode 1, Radar Priority, Mode 2, ECM Priority, and Mode 3, Barrage Noise Jamming. For this mission, you will be using Jamming Mode 2, ECM Priority. Set the ECM mode switch to Mode 2. The AN/ALQ-184 gets information of the threats attempting to track and engage your aircraft from the RWR through the ECM control systems. To activate this function, back on the CMDS control panel, set the jammer source switch to On. As part of your mission planning, you would have analyzed the expected threats and optimized the expendable countermeasures programs. To demonstrate this procedure, you will now edit Chaff Program 1 to Burst Quantity 4, Burst Interval 0.200 seconds, Sequence Quantity 5, Sequence Interval 1.5 seconds. When ready to SA-8, on the upfront controls, press the Step Rocker switch forward to set steer point 2. On the left MFD, shift the HARM POS mode from EOM to RUK, range unknown, with OSB-3. This will give you a smaller launch acceptability region, LAR, as seen on the right MFD HAD. When the H symbol is inside the LAR, launch the HARM by pressing the weapon release button. As the HARM flies towards its target, watch your RWR indications. If the SA-8 starts to track you, the ECM light will come on as the AN/ALQ-184 begins jamming the SAM's radar. You will also hear the oral counter request. For this SAM, refrain from popping chaff unless you get the missile launch warning.
Counter.
Target destroyed. You are in active pause. In the next part of this lesson, you will push in towards your target. Your goal is to get in zone with the JSOW in stable flight and launch the weapon. On the right MFD, press OSB-14 to bring up the SMS display. Then OSB-6 to switch to the AGM-154 Alpha. Switch to the HSD with OSB-13. On the out-front controls, step to steer point 3 with the rocker switch forward. You are now ready to begin the strike run. Your goal is to disrupt the SA-2 tracking and defeat any SAM shots long enough to get within JSOW range. When you are ready to continue flying, press the spacebar. Keep your airspeed between 450 and 500 knots. Monitor the RWR azimuth display. When you get tracking indicators, check that the ECM light is on and that all 6 AN/ALQ-184 jammers are transmitting.
Counter.
You can try to break the lock by expending chaff, but remember to save enough chaff to defend against a missile launch. If when you receive missile launch, pop chaff. Then begin evasive maneuvers until the missile is defeated. Afterwards, return to the attack line. Once the JSOW is away, step to steer point 4 and maneuver as necessary. Press the spacebar to clear this message.
Counter.
good hit. You'll use F16 various warfare systems to assist you in a successful 10,000. You may exit the training by pressing escape or continue to fly.